Nights at Freddy's 3 is one of the more divisive games in the series. If you yourself are a FNaF fan, you most likely either love this game for its great storytelling, or you've actually played it and despise it for its ridiculous level of RNG on its hardest challenge. Now, personally, I have played Five Nights at Freddy's 3 all the way. I've completed the hardest challenge, Nightmare Aggressive Only, as it's most often called, or Aggressive Nightmare Mode. To be totally honest, I love FNAF 3, and I think it's only fair that I share my thoughts. There's absolutely nothing on the first night that can hurt you. You have a few minutes to get used to the game's controls and mechanics. On one side of the room, you have a monitor with two sets of cameras. Now, an enemy that you'll come in contact with later in the game will most likely be on the first set, but starting at 1 a.m. or a minute into the night, he'll be able to go into the second set, which has shortcuts to your office through the building's vent system. So if he gets in there, you'll want to be really quick to block him off by shutting those vents. If he's on the main set of cameras, be careful because as the nights go on, more and more of the cameras have a chance to let ghosts into your office that shut down your systems if you're not fast enough to click off. And also, don't look at the cameras for too long because they'll shut down after you look at them for a certain amount of time. But if any of the systems go offline, don't panic. Just go to the other side of the room and reboot that system from the maintenance panel. It takes 7 seconds on average to reboot one system and 14 on average to reboot all three. So if more than one is offline, either reboot all of them or reboot the one that's most important at this particular moment in time, and then go back to the cameras. If the enemy gets too close for comfort, just use an audio cue to move him to an adjacent room. Once the first night's over, you get to a mini game, and this is where that storytelling comes into play. You play as one of the animatronics from the first game, roaming the building, which is shut down and worse for wear. There are some neat secrets you can find in this stage, including one that gives you a hint that might come in handy for something else down the line. So feel free and roam around. Then eventually, the infamous purple guy, William Afton, the man behind the slaughter, will come in with a surprise attack and destroy the animatronic you're controlling. Then there's the second night, where from here on out, Springtrap, a yellow-green rabbit animatronic with heavy wear and tear that's a lot more intelligent, almost human-like than the other animatronics you've seen in this series so far, will start chasing you through the building. He'll start on top of the building far away from you, but he'll try to make his way down the building toward your office. So now's a good time to put to use those tools you learned on the first night, luring him away from you and sealing vents he's likely to enter. Over time, more and more ghosts will try to get in your way, so be careful of those too. Then another minigame with another weird clue hidden in the same place as the first one, then night 3, then another minigame, then night 4, then another, and now you're controlling a crying ghost on the final minigame after the final night. Take the ghost into the room where the animatronics were destroyed, and you'll see William Afton in a yellow suit. The same yellow suit that's been chasing you throughout the building. He gets in to protect himself from 5 ghosts chasing after him. But as you've heard from the phone call throughout the night, this is a special kind of suit, one that's both a suit and an animatronic. And in his haste to protect himself, Afton doesn't notice that there's a little too much rain coming from the ceiling, and the springs holding the animatronic parts in place decompress and impale him throughout his body as he bleeds out and the spirits fade away, presumably finding rest now that their killer has been served justice. Now it's become clear. Afton is the robot that's been chasing you throughout the game, trapped in a prison of metal and fabric, but refusing to let himself die and determined to continue his killing spree. Now, depending on whether or not you followed those hints slightly off screen in the mini games after the first 4 nights, you'll get one of two endings. To get the good ending, follow the instructions and play the mini games that the instructions unlock, but don't take the obvious path. Instead, look for children to deliver cake to. Once you've followed all the hints, deliver one last cake and the spirits will be set free. But it's not over yet. Regardless of which ending you got, it's time for the final night of your shift, because as you know by now, there are never just 5 nights at Freddy's. That would be too easy. After one final 6th night, the story reaches its conclusion, at least for now. So, now that I've explained the game, what do I think of it? Well, I think this game is really well designed, and even though it's even more luck-based than Toy Bonnie in FNaF 2, the game actually gives you a lot to do. There's only one real threat to fight against, so you get to know him better, discover his advantages and disadvantages against you, and use them to help you. Sometimes he'll move a bit too fast, sometimes the audio cues will just randomly not work, and sometimes the system will randomly fail for no apparent reason. But overall, I had a lot of fun with FNaF 3. FNaF 2 is a lot more linear and repetitive, which is not objectively a bad thing, but works a lot better when there's more you can do throughout the game, like in FNaF 1. And while FNaF 1 is even more repetitive than FNaF 2, I think it handles that repetition a lot better, because there's more than one relatively easy way to beat the hardest challenges. FNaF 3, on the other hand, gives you a lot to do, so many things to keep track of, even though there's only one real threat. So many options as to how you can keep them at a safe distance. And aside from the gameplay, the game has a fantastic way of conveying its story, which has just enough details to keep you guessing as to what else might be going on that you don't know for sure. Overall, I love Five Nights at Freddy's 3. It's arguably my favorite game in the entire series, and I'd highly recommend that you play it. That said, I hope you did enjoy this video, so if you did, don't forget to press like and make sure you're subscribed to be notified when I upload something new. Feel free to grab yourself a membership for just 99 cents a month, or just donate a one-time tip to help me keep making videos and pay my bills. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll see you all next time.